SR-72 hypersonic Mach 6 scramjets by plane can cross the Atlantic, Europe or China or Russia. Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works has confirmed that it is developing the SR-72 spy plane, the successor to the SR-71 Blackbird, which was capable of Mach 3.5. The SR-72 will be a hypersonic unmanned aircraft capable of Mach 6, or just over 4,500 miles per hour. At hypersonic speeds, the SR-72 will be able to traverse any continent in around an hour, meaning, if they're strategically positioned around the world on aircraft carriers, the U.S. military can strike or surveil any location on Earth in about an hour. It is also suspected that the SR-72's hypersonic engine tech, some kind of hybrid scramjet, will find its way into the U.S. military's high-speed strike weapon HSSW, a missile that can theoretically strike anywhere on Earth in just a few minutes. The SR-71, or Blackbird as you probably know it, was the pinnacle of the U.S. military's Cold War reconnaissance efforts. Introduced in 1966, the Blackbird, with its hybrid turbojet ramjet engines, was the fastest manned aircraft in the sky until it was retired in 1998. Despite being utterly massive, 107 feet 32 meters long with a 55-foot 17-meter wingspan, the SR-71 only had 2 crew and no weapons. It was loaded up with cameras, radio antennae, and other surveillance-oriented loadout. Due to high running costs, and reallocation of funds towards other efforts such as UAVs, the SR-71 was retired after 32 years of active service. Of 32 aircraft that were built, 12 were lost in accidents, but none were ever shot down or captured by the enemy. The SR-72, despite the similar name, is a completely new plane. At the moment, the SR-72 is still only a concept, though Lockheed has now confirmed that the plane is in active development. An optionally piloted scale version of the plane with a single engine will be built in 2018, with test flights scheduled for 2023. If all goes to plan, funding hasn't yet been secured by Lockheed Martin. A full-size SR-72 about 100 feet long will be built and tested by 2030. As it stands, the current plan is for the SR-72 to be unmanned. It will be a very, very large drone. It will probably be unarmed, too, and outfitted entirely for intelligence gathering, though it's too early to say for sure. While the SR-72 will undoubtedly be a paragon of stealth and fashioned from monolithic crystals of titanium wrapped in carbon fiber, its defining feature is its operational speed of Mach 6, or 4,567 miles per hour, 7,350 kilometers per hour. At this speed, the SR-72 can cross the Atlantic or Europe or China in about an hour, or circumnavigate the planet in 6 hours. At an operational altitude of around 80,000 feet, 24,300 meters and Mach 6, the SR-72 will be almost impossible to shoot down. To reach Mach 6, some aeronautic magic needs to occur, otherwise we would have built a Mach 6 aircraft years ago. Basically, turbofan engines, like you would find in every big airliner, are only really efficient up to around Mach 2.5. Ramjets can then take you to around Mach 4, but then they too lose their efficiency. To get to Mach 6, Lockheed Skunk Works Lab, which has developed such luminaries as the U-2, SR-71, F-22, and F-35, is working with Aerojet Rocketdyne to create a turbojet scramjet hybrid engine that uses a turbine at low speeds, and a scramjet supersonic combustion ramjet at higher speeds. Like the SR-71, these engines will have the same inlet and nozzle, with some kind of mechanical system that shifts the airflow between the two portions of the engine as airspeed changes. Whereas a ramjet decelerates incoming air to subsonic speeds, a scramjet is supersonic throughout, allowing for much higher air speeds. No one knows quite how fast, but we are talking about at least Mach 10. The SR-72 isn't the first attempt to crack hypersonic flight, too. Boeing has been working on the X-51 scramjet tech demo for the last decade, and in 2013 it finally completed a successful hypersonic Mach 5.1, 3,400 miles per hour, 5,400 kph test flight. The scramjet within the X-51 may eventually find its way into the U.S. military's high-speed strike weapon, an air-launched missile that travels fast enough to evade early warning systems and countermeasures. Hybrid engines, such as the SR-72s, may eventually find their way into long-range missiles that can travel great distances to strike almost anywhere on Earth.
Fighter jet-launched laser weapons, expected to be operational by the mid-2020s, are of course part of the planning for sixth-generation fighters. Drone fighter jets, hypersonic attack planes, artificial intelligence, lasers, electronic warfare and sensors woven into the fuselage of an aircraft are all areas of current technological exploration for the Air Force as it begins early prototyping for a new, sixth-generation fighter jet to emerge in the 2030s and 2040s. While the initiative, called Penetrating Counter-Air, has been largely conceptual for years, Air Force officials say current prototyping and demonstrations are informing which technologies the service will invest in for the future. The Air Force is maturing technologies as well as assessing prototyping and demonstration activities as potential options, Air Force spokeswoman Captain Hope Cronin told Warrior Maven. Current work on a futuristic sixth-gen fighter, to come after and fly alongside upgraded F-35s includes development of stealthy drone fighters, hypersonic flight, lasers, new precision weaponry and advanced AI-able organized targeting data in milliseconds. While all of these things are of course key parts of the equation, the Air Force Penetrating Counter-Air program is equally focused on information exchange itself as a defining element of future war. Such an approach, looking beyond isolated systems and weapons themselves, envisions expansive networked combat with war platforms operating as nodes in a larger warfare system of weapons and sensors working together in real time. This approach is one that views military operations in terms of holistic elements of an information shooter effector complex. That will require a lot more going into the design of the next generation of combat aircraft than how fast and far it can fly, or what the numbers of weapons it can carry, Lieutenant General David Dipchula, former planner of the U.S. air attacks in Operation Desert Storm and current dean of the Mitchell Institute for Airspace Studies, told Warrior Maven in an interview. The program, highlighted in the Air Force's Air Superiority 2030 flight plan, envisions what Cronin referred to as a family of capabilities. We are investing in technology so we can eventually prototype and gain the knowledge we need to make decisions whether or not to continue with a potential capability, she added. Directed by the Air Force Chief of Staff, service weapons developers have been working in Enterprise Capability Collaboration ECCT teams designed to pursue next-generation air superiority. We are moving into a future where aircraft need to be looked at as not just elements of their own, but as a system of information nodes, sensor, shooter, effectors. It is about creating an entire system of systems that is self-forming and self-healing with a greater degree of awareness than an adversary can achieve, and a much greater degree of survivability, Diputla said. Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works and Boeing's Phantom Works are all among a handful of industry developers already working on prototype sixth-gen planes and advanced technologies, intended to align with key elements of the Air Force vision. The Air Force itself, while not yet decided upon a particular platform or a fixed set of new technologies, is moving quickly beyond the conceptual realm into the active exploration of weapons, sensors, technologies and networks. Next-generation stealth technology, for instance, is of course a large focus of the technical equation. Newer radar-absorbing coating materials, improved IR suppressants or thermal signature management, evolved radar-eluting configurations and acoustic reduction technologies offer a window into current areas of developmental focus. A 2013 essay by the NATO Parliamentary Assembly Science and Technology Committee discusses the evolution of advanced heat reduction technologies built into the skin of an aircraft. To become low observable in multiple spectrums, Advanced skins manage a plane's heat distribution to foil radar, infrared, and thermal detection systems. These skins do this by distorting or eliminating heat distribution to restructure its thermal shape. They may also be able to heat up or cool down all parts of an aircraft surface to perfectly match the surrounding atmosphere, making it virtually undetectable. The report, titled "The Future of Combat Aircraft, Toward a Sixth-Generation Aircraft," writes, "The Air Force B-21 Raider, a new stealth bomber expected to emerge in the mid-2020s, is said by developers to incorporate a new generation of stealth, but very few details are available. Engine development is yet another area of major leap-ahead technological focus, according to the NATO Parliamentary Assembly report. Emerging variable cycle engines introduce a third airstream into an engine, which can be controlled by the pilot," the SA explains. The new engines reportedly massively increase an aircraft's reach, fuel efficiency and speed. By opening or closing the third airstream, the pilot can adjust the fuel intake of the jet engine and optimize its performance, the report states. Fighter jet-launched laser weapons, expected to be operational by the mid-2020s, are of course part of the planning for sixth-generation fighters. Targeting and sensor technology, coupled with advanced guidance systems, are progressing so quickly that ships, fighter jets and land assets can no longer rely upon an existing threat envelope. Simply put, all US military systems will increasingly become more vulnerable as enemies acquire more drones, high-speed fighter jets and longer-range precision weaponry, all enabled by AI-fortified long-range sensors and targeting technology. This includes the emergence of advanced enemy fighter jets, ships, ballistic missiles and weapons such as land-based anti-ship missiles, all further necessitating the need for information and combat awareness in warfare.